Okay, guys, just hit your buttons for record 'cause I want to save this for posterity. Now, I'm the only one wearing orange, as you see, okay, because everybody else didn't want to be seen, and some people forgot, and some people didn't understand the promotion. But the reason, first, let me open this in prayer. Lord, I ask you to bless this meeting today. Bless everyone who's on it. Bless Brian, bless Amy, bless Susan, bless everyone who comes on, Lita, Tawana, Miss Joey, whoever is able to come on, bless them with this meeting, okay? Help us and bless us all. Bless all victims of gun violence. Father, we pray today for the families like Letha Cheryl Bush, Tawana Akins, who recently lost another nephew, Tangela Sears, Tracy Brown, the Jones family, the Butler family, several families who've lost people to gun violence, who I wish, and the Carter family, McKinn Carter. We pray for them today and their families and their losses. And we ask you to stop the violence, Lord. And we ask you to stop the violence, Lord. And please let this all work out in the blood of Jesus' name, in Jesus' name. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Fred Christian. I'm the founder of Hashtag Impact, which is at Impact Media. And we're going to do a special discussion today. We tried to do this last one, which was great, on why you need to care about healthcare. This one is why you need to care about gun violence. We got a special guest today in Susan Bullis. We also have a special panelist in Mr. Brian Douglas, and another special panelist, our co-founder of Impact, Amy Rodriguez. So we're going to have a small discussion on this. It may last a half hour. Let's just see how it goes. So, Susan, you got the floor if you need it. If you're available, go ahead. You're the first speaker, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead and tell them about your ministry and everything and what you do and the kids and everything, and then let Brian and me and Amy ask you some questions. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, Fred. Sorry, guys. I just got off my fast at 6 o'clock, so I'm trying to eat something quick. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Fred, for again head sparing something so important. It is Wear Orange National Gun Violence Awareness Month. So thank you for even wearing the orange. I'm wearing an orange hat that say "Donate a bullet, save a life." I'm just not in a position to get on camera right now because I'm eating lunch or dinner, whatever it is. So yes, so thank you guys. Hi, Amy. How are you? And who's the other gentleman? Brian. Hi,
Mr.
Brian.
Brian
How are you?
Douglas.
Mr. Brian, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Amy. We still pushing through, right? For Fred. We gonna push
Yes,
through.
ma'am.
Thank you,
We
guys.
gotta
Appreciate
do
it.
it.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Go, Susie.
as you guys know, Bullets for Life started 10 years ago when a 6-year-old boy was killed by a stray bullet. This was directly a vision from God because I'm a mom first and I was tired of seeing our kids dying by bullets. Every single day there was every time we turn the news on, someone is being killed by senseless gun violence. But I was called to action from my job at Nordstrom, where Fred would always tell everyone that I was making over $50,000 a year. I was a personal stylist dressing celebrities. But when God called me out of that position to get into my calling, which is Bullets for Life, um, I did not hesitate it. It's not easy, but I took the leap of faith and I went into the community and started asking them to donate a bullet. First of all, it came in a vision. I didn't know what a bullet was, what donate a bullet meant. But I keep hearing God saying, donate a bullet, save a life. And I'm like, what does that mean? Especially after a 6-year-old boy was killed and everybody's crying out. The whole nation is crying out for this baby. Some of us was called to action. Most of us would say, I'll pray for that mom. I'm sorry. They hope this will never happen to another mom or happen to me, but it can happen to anyone. But I was called to action to go into the inner city where the violence are happening and ask them to donate bullets. And that's how it started. The movement started after he was killed. So it's called Donate a Bullet, Save a Life. Every bullet you give me, that's a life that will never be taken by that bullet. Because what we're going to do, we're going to dismantle it and repurpose it into beautiful accessory and then seal the bullet with a Bible verse or something positive, a positive word. So the gunpowder comes out and a Bible verse go in. I want to keep God in the center of it because it's a God-led organization. I don't ever want to forget the mission. Since then, we've collected over maybe 30,000 bullets off the streets and counting. We just collected bullets today where I'm at. Over here in Hollywood, someone just donated about 6 bullets. So we just dismantle it and repurpose them into orange bracelets to honor the lives lost this month. So we're out now. We're just now asking the community to please donate bullets in honor of the lives lost for this month. We're trying to get at least 100, 200 bullets off the street just the month of June, to honor the lives. So yeah, so that's how bullets started. If you guys have any questions, I am here to answer.
Show one of these wonderful bracelets right here. You can see it. You can see the bullet. I hold
Yeah.
it like filmed it. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna fix it.
we do workshops with the families. We teach them that they, even though they've lost their kids to a bullet, it's therapeutic when we're helping them, teaching them how to take the same thing that took their children life and repurpose into something powerful. So now they're taking a life back, right? Because that bullet will never take a life. Even though they've lost a child to a bullet or a loved one to a bullet, we're able to show them a process how to take that bullet that came from somebody's gun, somebody's magazine, and repurpose it. So now they're taking a life back, and it's the most powerful workshop when you see families who's lost loved ones destroying bullets. Um, a lot of time I was told that this is better than going to regular therapy because this is more therapeutic for them. I've had a mom who even buried her son with our bracelet. He was killed with gun violence. His name is Josh. He was only 16 when he was killed. And I remember showing up for the moms because that's what we do. We show up for the families. We're there in the aftermath when everybody's gone. We at the funeral. We at the repast. We're doing the repast and everything. So she got to know me personally after her son was killed. And she said, "Can you please make a bracelet for my son? I would like to bury him knowing with a bracelet, knowing that that's a bullet that will never take a life, even though he was lost by a bullet." So that's a if anybody want a really important story, or a story that will just blow your mind. That one blew my mind when she was like, "I want to bury my son with one of your bracelets." So yeah, so that's part of what we do.
Susan, are you doing any special events for Gun Violence Awareness Day? What I think is tomorrow?
Yes, it actually starts tomorrow. So tomorrow we will be in the community asking for bullets. We will popping up in different city, in our cars with our signs and asking people to please donate bullets. But on Saturday we're joining Faith in Florida along with the other organizations in Opalaka where they're doing a gun violence awareness event, and we will be there doing our fundraiser to which will be selling our bracelets, which is a fundraiser to keep the movement going. So we have hundreds of bracelets that we already made with those bullets, and we're hoping tomorrow people will support it by purchasing one, because when you purchase one is given to someone who's lost a loved one. So yes, we will be out and about all weekend, and Sunday I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but yes, we're going to be very busy this weekend. Do you know of another event that's happening, sir?
Brian, do you know of any other events?
No, no. I just Googled Gun Violence Awareness Month today, and I saw it was Gun Violence Awareness Day tomorrow. So I just
Yeah,
was wondering
yeah,
if there are any other
it
events.
starts tomorrow to the 8th. It ends on the 8th, but it's all month, but they really focus on the 6th to the 8th. So we are gonna be wearing our orange. I'm having my prayer group. Everybody wear orange on that day and between the 6th and the 8th, and post it on social media, show up to different events, just have the church support it. If you have a business, have them wear orange, just wear orange, because any one of us can get a bullet. Any one of us can die by senseless gun violence. It's so important for us to stand with these families during this time.
Amy, do you have any questions for Susan?
Amy know me so long. She know everything about me.
No, I listen. I believe in what she's doing. I do wish she brought it down a little bit this way.
Bring me there, Amy. Bring me that way. All you have to do is say, "Come down that way," and
Yeah, because
create a
my
space.
my community in Little Havana. I mean, I used to be in Little Havana, but in Alabama, there's always something happening. There was not too long ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago. There
If
was
you,
an
mm,
incident that happened back here, right by my house. It was a 17-year-old kid.
he
Yeah,
died or survived.
no, he passed.
He passed. Wow.
Yeah, he passed.
All you have to do is just tell us if you create a space. You talk to the commissioner or the leaders of that community or even the church to bring us out. We will come out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You just gotta
I'll
have
do
a
that.
safe space.
I'm gonna try to reach out to the commissioner from this area, because
Yes.
it used to be Alex de
Diaz
la.
de the Port. Diaz
It used to be
Portilla.
Dia de la Portilla, but I don't know the gentleman that took over his spot now. I don't know him very well, so I will have to reach out to him and reach out to
Yes.
him, give him your information, let him know what you're about, what you represent, so that way maybe he can do, because he does a lot of events in the park for the kids,
Okay.
especially now in the summer that the kids already out from
Mm-hmm.
school.
Mm-hmm.
I'll reach out to him and see, and
Okay.
and then I'll just keep you posted and let you know.
Thank you for sure.
Okay, Susan, I'm going to ask the question now. Is Mayor Suarez's Stop Anti-Bullying campaign, is that still going on or did that stop?
That stopped. That came to an end in March. We did 5 of those all
Okay.
over. Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say that needs to come back again, and it needs to be in more of the districts. It needs to not just be in, where it was. It needs to be in Overtown. It needs to be in Liberty City. It needs to be in Edgewater, and it needs to be in Little Havana and Alapata. They got to unite the city, and you got to unite the county. This is a great idea Suarez had, and you're participating in it. Brian,
Definitely.
what? I'll tell Brian. Brian,
I
what we
think I
did when
think
they.
that I think that one of the big, one of the communication key points is the CACs from the community, the community action centers, because they're the ones who really deal with community constituents.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So going, maybe reaching out to the CAC centers, the community
Mm-hmm.
action centers, that will help, because here, like by me, there's the one in Calmer, and then the one in Calmer covers it covers Overtown, and it covers, I think, also Alapata.
Mm.
So I'll reach out, and then I'll keep you posted, Susan.
Definitely keep posted. Yeah.
Amy,
Yes.
quick question for Brian while I got you on. Does the CAC is also work for rent and housing, right?
Yes.
Brian, that's a good resource for you. Okay, please write that down.
Yeah,
The community action centers, there are several, each community has a community action center.
You gotta find the
They
one.
all they're all situated in different areas within the communities. Now,
yeah,
these community action centers, what they do is they provide different services. They have the application when the time comes and the funding's available for LHEAP. They also provide information and linkage to the homeless assistance programs and the homeless trust. They
mhm,
also link parents, especially if you're pregnant or you're about to have your baby or you had your baby. They link you to the WIC program. Um, some of the centers also have people who help you do the Medicaid and your SNAP applications. Some of them, it depends which center and where you go.
yeah. And Comer also has lunch program for senior citizens.
Correct. Calmer is one of them that provides. They have a. It's like a creative room, like a citizen room, something like that. For them, they do arts and crafts. Sometimes they do parties for them. When holidays come around, they celebrate Thanksgiving, they celebrate Christmas, and they provide lunch, they provide breakfast. I mean, it's really, these community action centers, they have different programs, and I think that our communities, you know, more people need to n- know about these,
Yeah, we don't
that
know.
they
It's we
exist.
not. It's not knowing. It's the problem. We didn't know about that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Resources. Not everybody. Look, Brian and I had a 3-day debate on this on resources with healthcare. Not everybody understands all
they
the resources.
the
Not
community action centers, they don't give healthcare, they don't provide healthcare, but what they
right.
do is they link you. They give you the linkage or as where to go to get healthcare. Um,
Correct.
they
That's
give you the linkage, they give you the information, the guidance, they show you the way. Everything else you have to do. One of the biggest issues that I have seen and I have experienced personally is that yes, you get the linkage, you go into a healthcare place, low cost, low fee, sliding scale, yada yada yada. But you find yourself that you need to take Tom, Dick, Harry, John, Peter, Paul, Pepillete, a pencil, a pen, a writer, this, a that. It's just the requirements for you to get any services from any of these clinics is ridiculous. And then if you're a person who has no income, who doesn't have a W-2, or is not really receiving any benefits from any governmental office, or Social Security, SSI, whatever, unemployment. So what do you do?
Yeah, yeah, the one, yeah. Can I speak to that, Amy?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, two things. Number one, my main thing is housing as an advocate. And the reason I got into housing is because when I first came to Miami, I did not have a place to live. The place where I was living in last year got torn down to be sold to a developer. I got very sick, ended up in the hospital, and my fellow resident passed away, died because of the stress. So that was my call to action to be an advocate for housing. And I've been doing such a great job in housing that God called me to also be an advocate for healthcare. So you talk about the free clinics on Camilla's Health Concern, Camilla's Health Concern. I'm on the community advisory board for Camilla's Health Concern.
But I don't mean to interrupt you, Brian. I know you're coming from a very knowledgeable position, but have you read the requirements for Camilla's Health Concern and for the Jackson 11 card?
Yeah.
And I also found that they opened here in Little Havana. It's called Care Plus or Care Resource.
Yeah, I'll address that in a minute. Let me just, so I'm on Camilla's Community Advisory Board. I'm also on Health Choice Community Advisory Board, which is a consortium of all of the federally HRSA, which is the federal agency which funds us to aim to address the problems that you're talking about. Fred and I talk all the time. We really need Medicaid. But what we're doing with Camilla's and Jesse Trice right now is a Band-Aid. I am 1,000% well aware of it. Fred, I've been sick, I have a bad toothache, but I was supposed to touch base with you. I don't want to go over right now all the requirements, the red tape, and all that kind of stuff, because it's a nightmare to get housing, to get healthcare. That's not the purpose of this discussion. My point is to let people know that there are resources out there. They're difficult to get, but we can help you navigate the system.
Hey, that's great. Guys, I want to bring on a guest now, if you'll let me. I want to introduce Mr. Ronald Fulton. He is an advocate and longtime community leader and disabled activist. Ronald, I'm going to reveal this. Ronald is the uncle of the late Trayvon Martin and the brother of Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon's mom. Ronald, if you'd like to say a few things about gun violence and healthcare for a few minutes, you got the floor, and Medicaid expansion.
Hello,
Ron.
my name is Ronald Fulton. Let me tell you about myself. I was injured in a car accident in 2001. I crushed C3, 4, and 5. They say I was dead at the scene. When it comes to, and let me tell you how I got started. I was in the hospital, and I was an athlete all my life, and I even played 30 and over basketball at that time. This was like way back, over 25, 20 something years ago. And I played and my blood pressure was low. So after I had the accident, I got E. coli poison, and I was in the hospital, and my blood pressure and everything set down, and everything came back up to speed, and my blood pressure was 90/60. While I was in they wouldn't let me go home. I had to go to a nursing home. While I was in the nursing home, they um they was giving me high blood pressure medicine when my blood pressure had went back to normal, like 90/60. And they was giving me high blood pressure medicine. And I was telling them I didn't need it. And they actually put me out because I refused to take it. So I got kicked out of that nursing home. And the reason, like I said, the reason I got started with this is because I felt like we people with disabilities had no voice. When I say had no voice, it's like whatever they wrote on your little file or record or whatever, you had no recourse because nobody came to you and asked you, well, what's the problem? If any doctor would tell you, if my blood pressure 90/60, I don't need a blood pressure medicine. And that's what's fueled the fight that I've been in for the last 20 something years. Um, and it's funny because I wasn't an advocate at Camilla's house. I was like the homeless trust. They kind of like oversee, uh, make sure that folks that's homeless get the proper attention that they need. I did that something like 20 years ago, and I know exactly what I think Brian was actually getting to and alluding to and explaining that. And when it comes to Medicaid expansion, my biggest thing is a single payer best practice. And we have to do something with prescription drugs. That's the best way. That's about all I have. And I just
Thank you,
can't.
Ron. Ron, would you like to say a few words about your sister and your nephew since this is Gun Violence Prevention and Awareness Week? Would you like to say anything about Trayvon or Serena and what they're doing?
Uh, oh, what Sabrina's doing is basically on a national level and keeping up the fight at the national level. It's not so she does some work here locally, but most of her stuff is done at the federal level.
Right, like I do.
I'm sorry.
Like I do with banning assault weapons and that kind of stuff. Same thing.
Yes, you know what? Me myself, I have some folks at the Brady campaign that I work with, and when it comes to it's kind of mind-boggling. I can't tell you exactly what's what, but and who's who. But I have been doing when it comes to the stand your ground, assault weapons, open carry, and this sort of thing. I'm kind of like pretty good versed in it, but for me, it's more so of listening to what folks say and answering questions and trying to get the best way to navigate through this stuff. For me, is where I'm at right now, and that's why I say
Thank you, Ron.
I'm to listen.
Brian or Amy, do you have any questions for Ronald or Susan?
Well,
Do you
I
have any
mean,
questions?
I can relate with Ronald because I'm going through a situation right now with my diabetes supplies. I've been waiting for the past 4 months for a response from my insurance to see if they're gonna cover them or not. And I just called them, and I asked what's going on. Can I get an update? Well, I guess the update was the doctor signed off on the prescription, sent the prescription. Now they need a prior authorization by the insurance, and I have to wait
Amy,
2 more weeks.
so Amy, question. because I've been through this myself personally, and we had an issue before with my son, who is asthmatic. When the insurance company does not want to cover the medication when it is medically necessary. And what I do for everything, I fight. And when we fight, we win. You have to
Yeah.
file in writing, send them an email, follow up, find out what's going on, and you'll get it. When we had the problem with my son, Emblem Health denied him his asthma medication. We emailed them, and we got the doctor's note, and within 2 days, he got his asthma medication.
Well, what I did was I emailed the CEO of Admin.
And what happened?
I went ahead and above because I was tired of getting the runaround.
Correct.
I had to switch my insulin pump
Yeah.
because I couldn't continue getting the insulin pump supplies that I was using. So I had to switch to a different pump
Yeah.
because these people, it's like, I see, and it's been told to me by insurance companies, people themselves, health insurance is a business.
Correct.
You have to
It
keep
is.
it, in order for you to keep it rolling, you have to, either charge more money, deny this, deny care, deny medications, and that's not right. You understand? And for a person like myself,
The focus, their focus, unfortunately, is profits over people.
correct.
Guys, I want to interject for a minute. Ron and Brian, I'm going to explain something to you guys, okay? Amy has a daughter who had parts of one lung missing. She had been featured, I don't know if, Brian, you didn't see this. This was a national story in the Washington Post. Amy, was it 2015 or 2013 that Jen was in the Washington Post?
I think it was 2013.
Okay, she was in the Washington Post. The title of the article was Treating Chronic Illness with Cough Syrup. Because what happened was she aged out of Medicaid. Amy aged out of it, her two children aged out of it at 19, which was wrong. This girl at the age of 17, forego her prom, her senior year, had 3/4 of her lung cut out at Jackson because she had chronic asthma and lung disease and COPD from the age of about 5. This girl is still suffering. Yes, she has a child now, but she's 30 years old and she's still suffering. We almost lost this young lady about 4 different times from turning blue from not having lack of health care. There was no Jesse Trice back then, Brian. There was no Camilla's House. We didn't have that back in 2013 and 2017. We didn't, and J2 cards were very hard to get because if you didn't make a certain income, you didn't get it. I had a J2 card, and I almost, let me tell you what they did with me. Let me tell you guys what they did with me. I had a J2 card, okay, and I don't want to discourage anyone. Now listen, anybody that watches this Zoom, I do not want you to discourage you from going to Jesse Trice or any of these places. I don't, as a disclaimer. This is better than nothing. But I was almost geographically discriminated against because they tried to say I did not live in Miami-Dade County. Part of the reason I do Medicaid expansion, which I really didn't want to do this today, but I will point out, is I had got sick in 2014 when I moved here, went to Memorial Hospital across the county line from Dade and Hollywood, and they told me I could only be treated for charity once there because I was not a Broward resident. I am tired of economic discrimination, geographic discrimination, and socioeconomic discrimination on our healthcare. It should not matter what you do, where you live, what your gender, race, anything like that is. You should get healthcare. I'm sorry. That's why I'm for Medicaid expansion. That's why eventually, like Ron said, we fix the system when we go from there to make it more equitable. That's what I'm here for. I talked to a friend today, and she told me, I asked her a question, what we discussed, Brian. She said, the clinics are good. But what's happening is the clinics and the hospitals get overrun. Brian, what year did you move here?
2019.
Okay, you missed it by 2 years. You missed it by 2 years. You missed it by 2 years.
I don't want to talk about the past. Because what happened 2015. I'm talking about from 2019, when God sent me to Miami, into the present, and when God called me in 2025, God called me and I got a call on the phone that we want you to do healthcare. in 2025, that's where I am today. So what I'm trying to do right now, we have no cuts to Medicaid. Yes, Medicaid expansion. Camilla's House and Jesse Trice are not the answer.
Right.
It's a Band-Aid, better than nothing.
But this is the thing with it. The friend of mine told me today, yes, go to these clinics because they're better than nothing. But what's going to happen once we expand Medicaid? It's going to take the pressure off these clinics. Because what happened was, you're not aware of this and you can Google it. 2016, we tried to expand Medicaid. Ronald's aware of this. The state legislature had a great bill. It was a great bill the state Senate wrote. Amy was in on this bill because she knew several of the senators that wrote this bill. It had a work requirement which people weren't thrilled about, but we accepted it because we had no choice, unlike now. And basically, the House killed it and Rick Scott killed it. Big hospitals, all the public trust hospitals, Broward Health, Memorial Care, Jackson, several other public trusts, Shands and several other public trust hospitals backed this bill. Now they will not support Medicaid expansion. The reason they backed it was they were losing money and rural hospitals were closing because they did not have enough dollars to cover the indigent care. That's an important part of this. So I'm going to segue on this. As an advocate, part of the reason I do gun violence prevention is because I thought about this when 2013 started this. I said, I was watching the news and I saw all these people and kids get shot up. And I said, what happens, God forbid, if I'm in the wrong place and I get shot up? And I live. What happens to someone? Because there was a lady that was a custodian and she got assaulted in a restaurant one time and she had no bills and she had to do a GoFundMe, no way to pay it. It spoke to me. I said, what happens to a victim of any kind of violent crime, especially gun violence? You're going to have, and I'll talk to this from experience from my friend Letha Cheryl Bush, whose son was shot 5 times in the back, Jack Brown III, and lived almost a year after. Susan, am I correct on my dates on that? Okay, I think she's there, but if she's not, it's okay. So finishing the story.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get off mute. Yeah, you're correct. Listen.
Okay, about a year he lived. Okay, Jack lived about a year. Okay. Now, Letha couldn't be here today because she's got some personal stuff she's got to take care of personally, but she's with us in spirit. And this is for her today. Jack got shot 5 times in the back. Okay. He got in an argument. He made some choices in life that weren't the perfect choices, but he went into a corner, was trying to straighten his life out. He went into a corner store in Overtown to go buy some water or soda or something. Got in an argument before he entered the store. This coward, when Jack came out the store, hid in an alley and shot this man 5 times in the back, and he was laying in the street in the middle of Overtown in downtown Miami. His mother, meantime, was taking care of her disabled daughter in the hospital. People said, what a shame about this man, not even realizing that her own son was shot 5 times in the back. They finally called her, and she had to take care of 2 children, 2 that were disabled because of this. And they did not have adequate health care for either because she wanted them at home. And it was struggling to pay bills. Jack Brown's a perfect example of why we need to expand Medicaid and we need to have health care for people, because he suffered with paralysis, he suffered from injuries, he needed nursing, he needed a lot of help. So part of this today is why I'm doing this, is for the Medicaid, is this. I'm doing this for his memory too and for his mother, because she specifically asked me, and Susan and Amy will verify this. Brian, when you come on the 2nd of August, you're going to meet Mrs. Bush. And I want you to have a serious conversation with Mrs. Bush, because it's going to change your life when you do. It has with all of us.
1 to 4 seconds, I'm there.
Yes, Amy.
Sometimes it doesn't have to. Sometimes the situations don't exactly have to happen how it happened to Jack. It was unfortunate, because he was young. But my daughter went to a situation on Saturday at her house. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
It was 11 o'clock at night, and she was with my grandson, and she was with the dog, and they were watching a movie, and all of a sudden she's like, her dog started barking, which he never does. So he started barking and he started pacing back and forth throughout the house. And my daughter was like, what's going on? So she opened the door. She created her dog, opened the door, and she heard gunshots. And she was in her house. Okay. So my daughter, where she lives in one room, and then you hit the corner, you turn right, and there's a pool hall. So apparently there was from what she was informed by the police, because she was so afraid for her and my grandson that she called 911.
Is it Titi and DJ?
She called 911, and they didn't come to her house, but I guess other people in that area had already called as well, so they were monitoring around the neighborhood, and that's exactly what they told her. It started in the pool hall, and they started fighting outside the pool hall. They took it down the street, and they were shooting at each other, and apparently two people got injured, and yada yada yada. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily have to be it happen to you in a form of vindictive form. It can be you being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right, exactly, exactly. Look at what happened in all these supermarkets. These people are innocently shopping. Look what happens in churches, mosques, synagogues. Look what happens in clubs. Look what happened in Pulse. One guy went in there and got angry at everybody and shot the whole place up. Go ahead, Susan.
Yes. Fred, that's called being at the right place at the wrong time. Because people could be at their home and a stray bullet hit them. Look what happened to Mandel. He was home when he was
Yep.
killed. You know what I mean?
Walked right out of his house. 17 years old, had a bright future, brilliant kid, honor student, was going to be a lawyer. Walked right out of his house, and this happened. And there's what is it, $120,000 reward? Well, I mentioned it for him from Omarosa right now. I think it's up to 120 for Mendel if information happens.
That's the biggest award ever.
$120,000, folks. If you're watching this, if you know anything about the killing of young Mendel Butler in Miramar, please report it to Crime Stopper, CSA Broward, or the police. Please, there's a $120,000 reward for this. There's several other rewards which I'm going to get to right now. For Jack Brown's, I'll say it bluntly, the person who injured and ultimately killed Jack Brown, there's a reward for him. There's a reward for Louis Leon Jr., my friend Tracy Brown's son. There is a reward. Is there a reward for Tan for David Queen or no? Susan, is there a reward for David or no?
There's an award for all of them, but there's
Not
still
award. I mean,
no justice.
I mean, is there a reward? Not an award, a reward.
A reward? No, reward. I'm saying there's a reward for all of them for justice. Okay. Yeah, there's a reward for every one of them out there. We're just not gonna.
I just want to make sure because I want to make sure. I don't want to. I mean, like we discussed before with King, I just want to put something out there when the crime is already solved. I want to make sure, like with Alana and Chas and every one of them, which we've lost so many little children. Chastity Saunders, Alana Washington, 6, 7 years old. Another little boy that was 5 years old opened the door for his birthday party and got shot. I mean, kids can't even celebrate in the park. Look what happened in Fort Lauderdale with that kid this last year. I mean, he was in a birthday party and they shot him because he drove by.
2 years old.
It's exactly what you both are saying about
2 years old.
Right. So, Ron or Brian, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Ron, do you have any questions?
Can I just say hello to Ronald? Hi, Ronald. It's so good to see you on here. It's an honor to have you on this call.
Thank you.
That's my big brother, Ronald.
Thank you ever so much. What I wanted to talk about at this time, Fred, if I may, I'm continuing to fight. What I've done, a couple of days ago, I sent a letter to Rick Scott because I feel like my community, which is Overtown, Liberty City, Miami Gardens, North Miami, Opelika, my community have been given our representatives in Washington a pass, meaning we don't question, hey, why are you making this decision? That's not in the best interest of the community. Why you keep doing these things and it's contrary to what the community feel. When it comes to gun violence, they voted stuff down, the actual funding. We and Fred talked about resources. The resources come from the federal government. That's the biggest part of money that come down. And if we cut off the resources, then you cut off the resources to all these programs that's doing wonderful things in the community. And it's kind of like baffling to me. And I thought myself, because I should have been speaking up I found out that in my community, Ashley Moody and Rick Scott are the ones that represent me in Tallahassee. That I surely don't feel like they're doing a good job. So therefore, I asked Rick Scott for a town hall meeting prior to the signing of the big beautiful bill, which will cut all the programs off that we're talking about, all the resources off. So I'm asking everybody that's on this call to kind of like sign on and actually giving your representatives in Washington a letter, a call. We have to do something. And I feel like we're doing the little that we can do. It does make a difference.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for all you do.
Ronald, I'm with you. I would have did my share and I blasted out to everybody. Everybody needs to send an email to Ashley Moody and Rick Scott. rickscott.senate.gov, moody.senate.gov. It'll take you 5 minutes to send out that email. And there's no reason that everyone shouldn't do that.
Well, I got it, guys. I have an action on these 3 things today: gun violence, healthcare, and also gun violence both. What I did, I wrote a little letter to the editor, not a letter to the editor, a little form letter like everybody else does, like major organizations do. I'm going to tag everybody tonight. I'd like everybody to please share it. Ron and Brian, I'm going to tag in this tonight on Facebook. Please share it. Put it on. I'll message it to you guys, or I'll even email it to you so you can make sure you get it to your other networks. This is important. This is the first action that Impact has ever done at this level. It is basically asking them to stop the cuts. And also, I'm going to tell you this little gem since it's Gun Violence Prevention Week for everybody. When they did this bill 2 weeks ago in the House, they decided to get cute. They introduced the part of it. I found this out through Moms Demand Action, a gun violence prevention agency that does wear orange and sponsors it. They entered a thing where it's going to be legal to use silencers on guns. This will make this violence problem even worse, because then you're not going to know who's coming and where. They're sneaking all kind of things in these bills and trying to get away with it that have nothing to do with anything. And, it's out of hand. We have to stand up as a people. We've got to fight for our safety and our health care, and both go hand in hand. And also our housing, Brian. We got to have a place to live. But I guarantee you there's some people that are struggling with the rent, and they might make a bad choice with a gun if it comes to that. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any more violence. I don't want to see any more bad choices. That's why we're here today, to stop the bad choices and stop the bad decisions. So, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to close it out today with this special poem. Now, I wrote this poem in 2018. I wrote this poem in 2018 right after Parkland. It's called How Many? Little primer on it. I was a 7-year-old kid, lived in South Florida, from 77 to 81 in North Lauderdale, Florida, went to Coconut Creek Elementary. The city of Parkland was not even existing then. I turned on my news in 2018, several years later, Valentine's Day, after a party at my senior community, to see 17 people shot, 14 students, and 3 adults, teachers trying to heroically save their students. And I was devastated. Valentine's Day is supposed to be a day of love and happiness and joy. Being with loved ones, aunt, your mother, your godmother, your husband, your wife, whoever, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. It's supposed to be a happy day, okay? This was not a happy day. For 3 days, I didn't know what to do. I went to school for communications, and I hadn't written in a long time, but God gave me these words. And Susan and everybody, this is also dedicated today to Ron, for Trayvon. This is also dedicated to Tracy Brown's son, Louis Leon Jr. This is dedicated to King Carter. This is dedicated in the Carter family. This is dedicated to, of course, Jack Brown III and Nita Cheryl Bush. This is dedicated to Tangela Sears and her son, David Queen, and several others. Parkland, Pulse. It's dedicated to Las Vegas today. It's dedicated to Sandy Hook, where this whole thing started. It's dedicated to Uvalde, Texas, of course. Several places this is dedicated to. So now, without further ado, I'm going to close it with how many? How many? How many tears must we cry? How many times must we say goodbye when someone we love dies? How many times must we sigh and want to cry? How many kids must die? How many moms and dads will cry? How many Americans will cry? Why? When someone they love dies. Too many tears, too many fears, too few years. How many more will say enough? How many more will rise up and say enough before our future dies, before it begins? How many will cry? So I'm going to do this with you guys. I'd like to break it down line by line real quick. How many? How many tears are we going to cry on all these issues? Are we all tired of crying? And how many times are we going to say goodbye? Be it gun violence, healthcare, losing our place to live. How many times? Today we got to start some action, folks. When someone we love dies. And how many times are we sighing and want to cry because we hear these stories and we just feel so powerless? We've got to stop feeling powerless. We have the people power and we can do something about it. How many moms and dads will cry? This is for all of them today. And how many Americans will cry? Why? I'm tired of crying why on the gun violence. I'm tired of crying why on the healthcare. And I'm tired of crying why on the housing and the human rights issues. When someone they love dies, too many tears, too many fears, and too few years. Very simple. Our kids aren't seeing their years, and we're all fearful, and we're crying too much. And how many more are going to say enough? Based upon this discussion today on healthcare and gun violence, we have had enough, and I'm proud for this discussion. And how many more are going to rise up and say enough before our future dies, before it begins? Our future is our kids. If anybody would like to close this out with any final thoughts, please do so.
Well, Fred, housing is a human right. Healthcare is a human right.
Thank you. Thank you. And preventing gun violence is too, and being safe is. Susan, do you have any thoughts?
All right, so well, we all know that. Thank you, Fred, for what you did. You know, I'm never gonna for how hard you go. This message is just happening amongst us, but we have to get it out to the right people. Like, we know enough is enough, but there's so many people that don't know enough is enough. So it's up to us, like my brother Ronald was saying and Brian was saying, we have to reach out. We got to hit up these the mayors and the senators, and we have to send these letters out to Rick Scott, and we have to get it out because we're hearing it. We already know what needs to be done, but the right people have to hear what you're saying and what we're saying and what we're talking about, right?
That's why we did this today.
Yeah.
Susan, sorry.
Go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead.
Could you send that letter? Could you send it out to everybody on this call?
Ronald, I didn't have Susan's email. I don't have the correct email. I will send it to her though. I will forward it to her. I promise you once she texts it to me, okay? I don't have Susan's correct email.
You don't? I'm surprised.
Yeah,
All
I keep
right.
getting the one Bullets for Life one and it keeps messing up.
Yeah,
So every
the
time
Bullets for
email
Life one, you have to go to the Susan Bullets one. The Bullets for Life one is not working right now.
So
Yeah,
just send text it to me and I'll send it. I'll text it to you and I'll forward it from Ronald, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, thank you.
I was going to Miami-Dade College. Miami-Dade turned off their server. That cut all my contacts. I have nobody's address now. I do have yours, Fred, because of the other day. They just recently did it. So I have nobody. All my contact list is gone.
Okay, I will text you my number so you can have it again, okay?
Okay. All right, so everyone, one thought. My campaign is called Voices of the Underserved. That everybody has a voice. I'm sorry, and no one can hear me. Okay, everybody has a voice. These days, everybody has social media. We have Facebook. We have Twitter.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do most of my stuff by email and Facebook. Now, what I was saying is, could you send me your email address? Then I can send you periodically what I receive, because I receive a lot of stuff. So I can start sharing that. When it comes to gun violence, I can start sharing
All
that.
right, tell you what. Ryan, can you put your information in the chat for Ron?
Yeah, sure, I'll do it right now. Yeah.
Ron, can you, I'm gonna keep the chat open. I'll keep this open for 5 more minutes, guys.
Hold on,
This way you guys can get it done.
What
Okay, I want you guys to connect.
Everybody, I'm sorry, Fred, what I've done is that my campaign was supposed to be voice of the people, but it's really voice of the underserved. All right, with voice of the underserved, which is minorities, the elderly, children, people with disabilities. People don't speak out because people think they don't have a voice. That's not true. In today's world, everybody has a voice. You go around, every kid, every senior citizen, everybody's on Facebook. Everybody's on Instagram.
That's the new voice. That is the new voice. You're 100% right.
Hey, Brian, I won't be able to do that.
Okay, I'm putting my information up. I'm sorry.
I won't be able to do that. I'm a quadriplegic, but my email address is very simple. You see Ronald Fulton, one word, 0.
Hold on. I'm putting my can you see the chats?
No, I can't write it. I won't do it after this.
Hold on.
How about if I text you Brian's number? How about if I do that, or text Brian your number and he can send you that way? How about that?
Yeah. Hold on, Ron.
How about that my email address?
Hold on, Ron. I'm sorry. I have pencil and paper, the old school way. Sorry, give me a minute. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, Ronald Fulton.
Yeah, I'm gonna write your information down right now and send you an email. What your email address?
Time out for a second. I'm going to be recording this and putting this out on YouTube. Okay, are you sure you want to do this?
Yes. Me.
No, Ron said no. Okay.
No.
Out there. I want Ron.
Ronald.
You have my email address out there. Send an email to me on the chat.
I'll send it to Ryan. I'll hook you up with his email. Okay, I got it. I'll hook you up with his email and I'll hook you up with his phone number. Okay, off the thing. Okay,
Yes.
that's the safest way to do it. Okay. Okay, folks. We're gonna. Amy, do you have any questions for anybody before we close? Okay, I guess she didn't. So, folks, I want to thank you guys for an amazing 55 minutes. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Susan, of course, for coming up huge. We want to thank those who couldn't be here, like Tawana, who are supporting in spirit. We want to thank Joey, who's supporting in spirit. And we want to thank, of course, Letha, who's supporting in spirit. We're going to be doing, I'm going to make an announcement here. August 2nd, we will be doing an in-person version of this called the Weekend Summit in Aventura, Florida. I would love anybody who wants to come to reach out to me. We will be having this at the Aventura Public Library from 1 to 5, and we're going to have this discussion. We're going to have great activists like Brian and Amy and Susan and Mrs. Bush come out and speak to you and teach you and even speak to you and answer your questions and have a little discussion with you. We have time. So this is a very powerful thing called the Weekend Summit. So we can move the ball forward on gun violence, healthcare, and even affordable housing. So, and we'll have some resources for you too that day, hopefully. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to end the meeting. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred. I'm going to read this.